Paso a Paso podcast.
Welcome to another episode. We are back again, and this is a dynamic one. We have both live interview recordings from in the field in Taos, and also a second half where we did a phone interview with Nina from Twirl. The field interview that we'll start off with is an interview with Felice of Youth Heartline, who is in the midst of a summer-long series of pop-up activity events at our various housing communities throughout town, interacting with families and kids, providing some positivity during this very interesting summer we're having. So we'll start off with a live interview there. You'll hear the background noise and the kids having a great time with Felice, who is leading this effort. And then we'll follow up again, as I mentioned, with Nina from Twirl. Let's get into it. Hey, reporting live from here in Taos. We have another great guest today on this program, and we'll be discussing the various ways in which she and the organization work with our community through COVID and beyond. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Felice Medina, and I'm the Community Programs Coordinator with Youth Heartline.
Great, thanks for being here. I have the pleasure of working with you on a few events you're hosting around the community that we'll get into, but also I was just super excited when we first met about your role, I think, being created, really. Just open anything you want to share about how that's been through that time. I'm sure it's been a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I really have enjoyed being able to create different programs to serve the needs of our community, and it being very open-ended as to based on the work that I do with families, just kind of seeing where the needs are and being able to develop programs to help to serve families in the way that they need.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of what you're doing is very complementary to the other programs that exist. You know, there's like home visiting, stuff like that, and they're all, they have their niche. But how have you determined or how to reach out and what to do?
So I know that there's a lot of different services available in Taos, and there's a lot of different nonprofits. And I think that the biggest thing I'm trying to focus on is meeting families where they're at, and also not trying to duplicate a service that's already in place, but better bring services together to meet those needs. Mm-hmm. So, for example, this summer we have been having summer pop-ups at 6 of the income-based apartment complexes in town, and instead of Youth Heartline creating every single pop-up and being the force behind every pop-up, I've coordinated with a lot of different organizations that already serve the community, so that it brings all of our forces together to be able to create the program. So we collaborated with Twirl and Children's Trust Fund. We had bike clinics. Taos Alive was a big part of supporting us. The DEA came all the way from El Paso to come and do some of our pop-ups as well, the Taos Public Library. So it was a collaborative effort of a bunch of different community agencies, because we all have something to offer. And I think bringing us together to work together instead of everyone needing to create their own thing, we can make a big difference.
Yeah, amazing. And again, just thanks and congrats to you for organizing all this. Something that really stands out to me about it, and I'm curious if you see it the same way, is that essentially you're not only creating an event and multiple events, many events. Just a second. It's all good.
What? I can drink.
Yeah, we have orange juice. There's nothing.
But you're bringing these events to where the folks are. Not only did you say before, as you said, like meeting them where they're at, which is often referred to kind of like in their own lives, but you're literally also bringing it to where people are, which I think is super cool.
Yeah, and I think that was really one of the main focuses of this program for this summer was meeting, especially kids. I mean, COVID has been difficult on everyone, but it's also been difficult on kids. I mean, they've been locked up in their houses pretty much, on technology the entire school year. And I wanted to really give them an opportunity to just be kids, to come outside and play where they're at without, I know parents are busy and they have a lot going on, and sometimes they're not able to make it to a certain location, whether it's, time or transportation. Also, most of the camps and things going on in the community cost money, and not every family is able to afford that. So I wanted to bring something to the families, to the kids, exactly where they're at.
Yeah, amazing. And I imagine also, having spent so much of your time in this role, I guess before and during COVID, right? It kind of bridged both. How does it feel to have this? I know it's a lot in the moment. Maybe you'll enjoy it afterwards more. But how is it to see all this kind of come to fruition based on just a vision of yours and seeing what comes out of it? Because in front of us, for those who are listening, there's a large amount of kids and families, and there's multiple activities, and it's a really great experience.
Yeah, I think it's been great, especially, starting out at so there's a 6-week program. We're currently in our 4th week, finishing it up, and to see the growth from the very first week into now this 4th week it's been really great, and it's very rewarding for me to be able to see the families come out and, make connections within their own community, and the kids to just have fun and be kids, and they're laughing and smiling and making friends. And so it's been really great.
Yeah. Anything that you would want to share with folks as far as in the future, things you'd like the community support on, or for yourself or Youth Heartline, or anything else like that?
I think it's just great, getting to know our community. I've also, through COVID, helped people complete the Emergency Rental Assistance Program application. And it's been great getting to hear people's stories and really getting to know them, for who they are, and taking a lot of the external stuff out, but just having a conversation with them about where they're at, what their needs are, how their life is going, and then working to implement services based on that. So, I would just really encourage people to reach out to your neighbor and get to know them, and, make those connections amongst each other. And as far as for Youth Heartline too, we're always looking for CASA volunteers. That's one of our bigger programs, and we are definitely always looking for people to volunteer in that capacity, or other capacities as well. So we're always looking for volunteers.
Cool, thanks. And youthheartline.org, I think, is the website. And lastly, just moving forward, is there any things you'd like to see happen with respect to the work you're doing, or that you would like to see the community, local government, other organizations kind of focus more on, whatever might come to mind that you're willing to share?
I think from what I've seen in the work I've been doing during COVID, housing, which is a very big issue, and it seems like it's getting bigger in our community. And I think that that's something that hopefully local government can help with. The cost of rent doesn't match our economy.
Yeah.
And it's really apparent in the families that I serve when they can't. They're choosing between paying their rent or paying their electricity. And that's a really hard choice for families to make. Do I have a place to live, or do I have the lights on? Most families are choosing to pay their rent, but then they are behind on everything else.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of disparities there that should be addressed, I think.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for all your work.
Thank you, Miles.
And as we are back in the studio now, thank you to Felice and Youth Heartline for sharing that insight on their summer programming during the summer of 2021 in income-based housing. I thought it might be helpful for us to continue this discussion in this episode by speaking with someone else who has been one of those organizations or representation of exactly what Felice mentioned earlier, the partnerships in the community that are developing and continuing through this series. And we are so happy that we are able to have an individual here with us to share their perspective on this series and bringing the community to other specific areas of our community in direct service. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Nina Silverberg, and I am the public programs manager over at Twirl, which has been a nonprofit for, since 2015 or something. So for quite some time, we've been twirling all over Taos County and beyond our beautiful campus there close to the plaza. So in that context, we have been twirling around in the different income-based housing developments and loving the collaboration with Youth Heartline, which actually in the beginning of this pandemic, we started off providing a bunch of content for Youth Heartline because they had the connections with the kiddos and families we were not really able to connect that much because of the pandemic. So thanks to the pandemic, we've created a beautiful collaboration with Youth Heartline, where I feel like we're filling each other's needs, so to speak. They've got the connections with the kids and families, and we definitely have all the fun, creative playing and explorations that we want to always be providing to kiddos in the Taos community at large. So I'm not sure I answered a question, but
that was great.
That was my very long introduction to this specific project.
Yeah, thanks, Nina. And thanks again for your willingness to jump on here. It sounds like, Twirl, the community knows as an organization that provides fun and entertainment and education and new experiences to our community and our youngest citizens. Also, I imagine during COVID, there was a need to find ways to connect with the community while perhaps, the benchmark or highlight of Twirl for the community might be considered the playground was closed down. Can you tell a little bit about the backstory? Because it sounds like you were involved in this decision to bring activities to folks around the community early on, and that continues through your volunteering now.
Yeah, so last summer we were working with Felice from Youth Heartline and Sandra, and we created a bunch of scribble bots, which are these little fun DC motor driven, marker enhanced, whatever recycled container robots that you place on paper. First you assemble them, then you place them on paper, and then they do all kinds of fun scribbling for you. And we got about 50 out into the community, specifically to Raton and the Gustorf neighborhood. And we were just talking, this was last summer, and then we were talking about how to kind of continue just getting content to families, kids and families, since kids and families weren't really going places or coming to Twirl, or how to reach out. So obviously there's been a lot of door knocking and a lot of, bringing creativity kits to kids and families, thanks to Youth Heartline and us providing content. And then it was in the spring that we were brainstorming with Sienna Sanderson from Taos Behavioral Health and the Nurturing Center at Enos and Felice, and on my porch, and we were saying, well, why can't we just do this like all summer? And so Felice created an incredible matrix filling every day of some kind of fun activities, but, the scheduling that goes into this. So it's been awesome that Felice has had that capacity, because Twirl didn't really. We've had many other things going on as well. But we were able to pop up about 9 times all over the various different housing developments with cardboard engineering and building. And all the kiddos got a bag that had all the materials necessary, plus a bunch of fun snacks and free giveaways, such as free dance classes and reduced bowling coupons and rubber ducks from the town of Taos, and all kinds of fun different sponsorships that were collected throughout the spring. And the bag had all the content. We were trying to be COVID safe so that you could still build with cardboard, but you had all your own tools and kits, because whenever Twirl goes and does stuff, there's a lot of touching of scissors and markers, and it's a close-up experience when we get creative with whatever it is we're doing. So this was a good way of managing that, and all our activities happened outside. And so we were very happy to be part of the content providers for this summer of play pop-ups that happened all over.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks for all that, the backstory, and thanks for your involvement in it. Whenever I speak with staff from Twirl, so many different topics come up. And I think that, again, thinking about Twirl as a destination in our community, and one that will, reopen soon, what do you know, or can you share much about the history of Twirl in the interest of bringing those activities and fun beyond the home base of where Twirl is located to other areas of the community? Because it seems like something that's really important in the organization and something that you're involved in, COVID or not.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we want to see ourselves as ambassadors of creativity. We want to get kids and families engaged together in playing, exploring, and creating. And so I see ourselves as, having a great passion, or at least I do, and I know my team does too, because this is what we do. We twirl around, we pop up, and we give them wonderful creative ways, which sometimes are STEAM-related, sometimes art-based related, sometimes movement-related, because now we have wonderful Amber on board. Miss Amber is doing all kinds of fun early childhood stuff and movement, and we have Liana, who's a wonderful educator. So we have a great team for twirling around as much as possible. And when I say twirling around, that sounds very general. And to me, it sounds very clear what that is. But for the public at large, that means giving kids and families opportunities to have creative outlets without having to come to Twirl. Traveling, driving, getting there. Public transportation doesn't really exist in Taos. Like, there's not a bus stop outside of Twirl, is there? So we go places, and we look forward to that. And we love meeting people where they're at as much as we can.
Yeah.
And, linked to some of our annual or seasonal larger projects, we usually have an outreach component, whether that is leading up to or around the Paseo, or leading up to around Invent event, or any kind of summer activity. So we usually have a themed activity that we then also, in addition to offering at Twirl, we like to take it to some schools, some community groups, some libraries, other nonprofit organizations. We love supporting Taos Behavioral Health and Youth Heartline now. So that is what we very much do, in addition to what we do at Twirl. And I just wanted to quickly do a shout out. Twirl is actually open, but not fully open.
Oh, wow.
Twirl, the store is open Tuesday through Sunday, and we have some young twirlers program led by Amber on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 10 and 12. Some fun activities, guided activities. And the little courtyard in the back is also open, but the large courtyard is still under construction. And you guys just hold on, because it's something incredible that's going to pop up over there.
Great. Well, thanks for that. I was actually going to ask, so that's a great way to end us off. And again, thanks for everything thanks to Felice for being interviewed as well on this podcast. And thanks for your continued work in the community. And if there's anything we can do to help spread the word out, please always consider reaching out.
Yeah, and thank you very much, Miles, for having us on and spreading the word. And you can always also hop on our website, www.twirltaos.org, to check the latest updates. And we do update our website as much as possible.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks again, and have a great evening.
Sounds good. Thank you. You too.
Paso a Paso podcast.